Ladies and gentlemen, the situation is serious. I ask you to share this video conference as widely as possible. Today, May 15th, 2025, the date when the talks for peace negotiations in Ukraine were supposed to officially begin in Istanbul. The negotiations have not started. No. There have been some arrangements, some preliminaries, but the negotiations have not started. More than 200 journalists were there waiting. The negotiations have not started. And in the end, that is to say, America is disappointed, and as for Zelensky, he is completely overwhelmed. The negotiations have not started. Oh, because obviously that nothing was clear. And I myself was wondering, how is this going to happen since Russia simply sent out the invitation? The exact date for the start of the negotiations was not given. The starting out time was not given either. And so today was a rather haphazard day. So today is considered the day when the various delegations arrived. However, since yesterday, Volodymyr Zelensky has been on Turkish soil. He, in fact, has been isolated somewhere over there since Donald Trump didn't come, Putin didn't come, so he's isolated. Holed up somewhere in his hotel. It's his delegation that was sent instead. The negotiations have been postponed until tomorrow. So the negotiations will begin tomorrow. But already, Volodymyr Zelensky is talking about a lack of respect. That there is a lack of respect. And the United States of America is disappointed. The United States of America no longer expects anything concrete to come out of these negotiations. There are just too many speeches, too many differences, too much procrastination. America, which was counting on imposing what was called the Russia State Concert in the peace plan, is very disappointed. So what is it that disappoints America? We will talk about that in a moment. So young ladies and gentlemen, in the context of this video conference, that is of course what we are going to discuss. And you're on your platform that gives you real-time information, thoroughly analyzed, and accurate information. That is why I am asking you to share the video conference as much as possible. You need to share it in all the groups as you share. It gives more visibility to the video conference. It introduces our channel to other fellow Africans so they can subscribe. Be willing to share in the same way that you quietly and comfortably receive international news at home, wherever you are through our platform. Please allow and enable others to receive it as well. Because if you are here today, it's thanks to others who shared. So in return, you owe a debt. You should share as well. Let's go deeper. I told you that today would be very interesting, but tomorrow will be even more intense. First of all, it must be said that Zelensky tried to set a condition. He proposed he would like America and Turkey, which are hosting the negotiations, either America or that the exact date and time for the start of the negotiations remained uncertain. It remained uncertain. The exact date and time for the start of the negotiations was still unclear. Eli, that's why I say there is a lack of respect. A proposal for direct talks was made. Then it kept changing constantly. The wording was established. The course of the discussion was ongoing. It starts today, the 15th, 81. You start to change, and then they say again, it's the 16th. The Ukrainian comedian is not happy at all. But in a way, he's right. Die 32. Was it supposed to start on the 15th? People come out, find themselves in a room, and then after that, There are statements, and then no one understands anything anymore. And we say, tomorrow, right? What is going to happen again tomorrow? We're waiting to see. Let's go deeper, ladies and gentlemen. Share the video, share the video. OA. 00229 ACY. So he's here. Zelensky specified that his delegation is already in Istanbul. Well, even if it's not the entire delegation, but only part of the delegation. So that's one thing. And the negotiations have been postponed until tomorrow, May 16th. The statement was reported by a source close to the event organizers. They reported this to the TASS news agency. What should be added is that earlier in the day, the advisor to President Vladimir Putin, his advisor named Vladimir Mindenk, I believe. Misdane, I think that's it. Right, Medansky, that's his name, Vladimir Medansky. He had stated that Vladimir Putin had defined the objectives and a position for Russia's negotiations in Istanbul, following a meeting with all the commanders of the Russian groups fighting in the special operations zone. So it was after a very strategic meeting that Putin defined the mission's tasks and Russia's position. That means Russia is going in with a firm position. So beyond that aspect, this gentleman you see here, the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who has been in Istanbul since yesterday, is expressing the disappointment of the United States of America. That's how we can describe it. So he says, the U.S. has low expectations for the Russian-Ukrainian negotiations. The United States is not expecting much. According to Mr. Marco Rubio, the only real chance to resolve the Ukrainian situation does not lie in these negotiations, but rather in a personal meeting between President Vladimir Putin and President Donald Trump. It seems like they've seen something, you know. It seems like they've understood something after the exchanges with the Russian delegation. He stated that after tomorrow's discussions, May 16th, 2025, in Istanbul, the United States would decide on the possible timing of such a meeting between Putin and Donald Trump. He says, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm 100% wrong. I hope that tomorrow's news will announce a ceasefire agreement, but I don't think so. Here is what the representative of the United States of America has just announced. So that means he really has no hope. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the top news story. Thank you for sharing it, and thank you for always staying tuned. I'll be back with more news updates. This was the voice of your humble servant, that's the Samurai.